Happy Saturday, StorytellHER family. We're back. I told y'all I've been cooking. I told y'all a new season is upon us. We have a new face, a fresh face today. I want to thank our guest, Whitney Thompkins, for joining us to share her story. Whitney, before you get into your story, just tell us about yourself.
Okay, I'm here. It did something crazy. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Um, I was giving the floor to you to introduce yourself to our guests,
Okay,
to
so
our listeners.
hi, my name is Whitney Thompkins. I'm the owner of Your Family, Your Legacy. I am a mom. I am a wife. I am all the things. Um, my business right now, I'm licensed in 30 plus state, virtually like an at-home business. So I'm juggling being a mom, working on my business with my daughter's home right now, and yeah, doing all the things.
All righty, all the things, a work at home mom. So you're definitely busy. So thank you for your time today to share
Absolutely.
your story. Let's get into it.
My story?
Yes.
Okay. So my story. So I would start with just how I kind of got to this place, right? So um we all have our thoughts of what we're gonna do. Like I just told one of my clients today, like you tell the Lord what you want to do and he laughs and because he knows like the plans and what he has planned for us to do. So what was interesting is like, get married and then you have a child and you realize that you really don't want to like go to work every day and have a baby at home. You don't want to have to leave the house. And I remember after I had Riley, having to take her to my mom's house that first year, it was like it sucked. Like
Yeah.
I was like, man, it's crazy because I never felt like that mom. Like I never felt like I always wanted kids, but I never felt like that maternal like I just can't wait to be a mom and I'm going to be the so for me to have that feeling, it was interesting. I didn't feel that feeling right after. You know how people say I saw my baby and I just was I adored her and I love her. I didn't really have that feeling. Like
Uh-huh.
I couldn't believe I just did that. Like I was amazed, I was impressed, I was confused, but it wasn't all the feelings until I had to go back to work.
Hmm.
And when I had to go back to work, that's when the feelings came. And I was like, okay, like what do I do with this? I have to work. I have to like bring income in the home, but I still have this new child that I don't want someone else to like raise her. So what do I do at this point? And I remember just kind of sitting back and I had like options like at my job, like do I just work a little harder here so I can be more of the asset so I can get more freedom. Because you obviously, the more impressive you are, the more you can say, like, hey, I don't want to be here every day.
Right.
And they want to keep you on, so they oblige. Okay, you don't have to be here every day. Or do I, take the step and move out and do something on my own? And I remember kind of going back and forth with the thought, and I was like, okay, Lord, I don't know. And something happened in my job that was so crazy. And I feel like it like pushed me out. Like I was like, that is it. I'm done. I don't deserve this. And at that moment, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try. I'm just gonna like figure this out. And like I kept telling my husband about like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. And he was like, okay, not like yes, not no, but just like, okay, like make sure you get help still. Like don't do too much.
Yeah.
And I remember stepping out and doing it. And even then I had 6 months of savings, right? I was like, let me have some money put to the side. Let me be wise and have 6 months of savings, which I did. And that 6 months of savings went so fast. Like it went so
Wow.
fast and it was nothing left. And I still wasn't really making any money.
Mm.
And I was like, Lord, like I might have made a mistake, because this isn't working and I'm not making any money and I have this little girl and I have this, I have responsibility. And I remember I would get so anxious as a little girl about money, about like anytime things would get confused, I would be so anxious.
Yeah.
And my daddy used to say, Whitney, you're gonna make yourself sick. And my mom used to say all this stuff. And I remember getting that feeling. And I was like, I don't want to keep having this feeling. Like I don't want to always feel so anxious. And I remember sitting at home one day and I was like, one, be anxious for nothing. Like, be anxious for nothing, Whitney. But then I thought, what is the worst that could happen? The
Yeah.
worst that can happen is I go in debt. I have to get another job. Like, we won't lose, my husband ain't gonna let us lose the house. And I thank God for that. Like, that's not gonna happen, but they might come get my car because that was my bill, you know. But
Mhm.
um that's the worst that can happen. So why am I like stressing myself out to almost being sick?
Right.
And this, the worst can happen, the worst thing that can happen is a death.
Hmm.
So that really changed a lot, and it really like put me in a position to be where I am now, like not being so anxious about things. And I remember I still wasn't doing nothing. Like, it was a year at this point, and I was like, oh, I worked one day. My friend works at this company. She was like, just come in, just a little bit. I'll pay you. You can work on your insurance. Like, you don't have to just. I just need somebody in the space. I was like, okay. I worked one day. I was like, girl, what are you doing? You know you don't want to work for nobody. And I was like, okay. So I was like, that's not gonna work. I just have to keep going. And
Mm.
I don't I it's almost just like one day it just like switched, and it just, the business started coming in consistently. And I was like, okay, this might work. This might be it. And I just sat there a little bit longer, and it just started coming in. The business was a little bit more and a little bit more. I said, okay, you know, all it takes is a couple, because that's all it is. It's like when you realize that it could work and your faith get increased a little bit, you be
That's
like,
right.
oh, this is it. And so anytime I had like a low month, because for after that, so the year two, I start going up, but I would have low months, go up, and I would have low months. And every time the low months come, I'll be like, okay, I'm not gonna be anxious, because the worst that could happen is this. And it worked last month. Why can't it work next month? And it started like I would start having more ups and downs. And then thank God year three came, and like I always say, my calendar stays full. Like, it stays full. I do not have to like look hard for clients. I do not have to. I'm helping people in the capacity that I want to help people. I have freedom in my schedule. Like, it is literally, I'd be like, I cannot believe that I get paid to do what I do. I cannot believe that God literally opened the door for me in the capacity that He opened the door with me. I be trying to like, I want to encourage people. Like, look, do it. Like, yes,
Do
it's
it.
hard. It sucks. It's gonna be like, you're gonna be like, this was a mistake, it's dumb, but you have to do it. And I remember listening to something a long time ago, and they said, if you haven't attained success, you haven't worked hard enough. And I was so mad about that comment, because I've had so many things that I worked really, really hard at. And I'm like, that is not true. I worked really, really hard at. But until I started getting success, I realized I get what they're saying. It's at that point of quitting. It's at that point that when it's like, when it's so, so bad, you can literally put your head down and grind harder.
Hmm.
I have never ever done that before, but in this space that I'm in, that I'm currently in, that was the first time. Other businesses, when they got hard, I'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna take a break from it, or I'm just gonna not worry about it right now. I'm just gonna focus on something else, and I would, and then I would come back to it. But in this, I was like, nope, it got hard. I grind harder. I put my head down harder, and that's what I didn't have before. And I was like, that's what they was talking about. That is exactly what they was talking about. So yeah. So that's a part. I guess that's an aspect of my story. Obviously, I will be on here all day long to give you all my story, but that's the story that I'm in season right now.
Right. So when you say you want to encourage people to do it, what is the it?
I think that it is, I will say this, like, I'm a firm believer that we all have gifts, we all have purposes, we all have a purpose. And a lot of times it's not, for me, I don't even think the purpose is like, it's this deep purpose. I think that we all have skills, and this is from like just like, let's say, a natural point of view, right?
Hmm.
We all have talents, we all have skills. There are people who the job is paying you X amount of dollars every single day to show up every day, every week, every month, every year, because you are of value to them. So when you realize that I bring a value to this space, and I have a desire to want more, to want to do more, what can I take from this space and do it on my own? So that's the word when I say do it. I mean, what skills, what talents, what things that can drive you that you can take, even if it's not from your secular career, but even from the things you do every day. You're always encouraging people. How can I take this encouragement and bring this into a business or bring this into a space where I can do this full time, or I can, instead of just encouraging the three lives that call me all the time, I can encourage 30 people or 300 people or 3,000 people. Like, how can I do this? So that's when I say do it. You know what it is, right? Like, I don't know what your it is, but you know, when I said that, somebody was like, huh, that was probably your it.
I love that. I love that. So walk us through a person going for it and doing their it. And let's say it's business. Like what is your business? Do you want to get
So
into
I,
that a little bit?
yeah, we
Yeah.
can. So I own Your Family, Your Legacy. I'm a legacy planner, which in, I guess, in old school terms, you would call it a life insurance agent.
Mhm.
I don't call it a life insurance agent because I'm not selling you life insurance. I'm teaching you how to leave a legacy for your family, I'm teaching you how to build, to protect what you're building and also build upon it. Like, it says a good man leave a inheritance for his children.
That's
So
what it
why
says.
aren't we doing it? And
Amen.
also when it goes down to, my child shouldn't have to start where, in the middle of where I was. Like, no, they should be starting on my shoulders, on my head. Like, I should be leaving them at least as good as I was when I was here, or better. Not in, like, they shouldn't have to then go into what they have to help pay the taxes on my home, because I call myself leaving you an asset, but
Right.
it's taxes owed on it. That was not an asset. That was a
Right.
debt for them because they still had to pay taxes, or the home needs work, or they have to pay for your final expense, or whatever that is. So that is what I do. I go in and I'm teaching people how to protect what they have. Also, I went to an event over the weekend, and one of the ladies was like, life insurance is important. It's so many people that don't have it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not really even worried about the people who don't have it. I'm more worried about the people who have it and they've been paying on it, but it's not the right policy. Like, can you
Mhm.
imagine paying on something for 30, 40, 50 years and this policy isn't what you thought it was because no one sat down and looked at the contract for you? Can you imagine that? That's devastating.
For sure. So like what happens? Like tell us the difference. Or for somebody who has been paying on a policy for 30 years and then they found out that they're not
I mean,
getting what they were
it could be
expecting.
so many things. I have seen where the policy was built in a way where it was more focused on, like, the death benefit growth. Like, you could have a policy where you're, say, someone today, I had someone who was putting like $40 a month into a permanent policy. So this permanent policy is supposed to last your entire life, $100,000. You're only paying $30 a month. That seems a little fishy. So once I looked at her policy, I was like, oh, you know what? I noticed that the this policy right now is sustained, but when you're 45, you're going to be, so you're going to be putting more in it. It's gonna, it might connect. Okay, you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you might be putting more money in it than you might have to put more money in it. So here she is. Oh, I only got to pay $30, and this is great. No, they're gonna come back and be like, you need to double it or triple it. I've had people who thought they had permanent policies, and they only have a term. So that means a permanent policy should last you your entire life. Well, no, it's a term. So imagine that, and you buy this policy at 20. 30 years later, you're 50, and then you get a letter saying that it's no longer in place because it was a term and you thought it was permanent.
Wow.
Or you buy a policy with a company that don't sell nothing. There's a company right now, and I never mention companies' names just because it's just, but there's a company that only sells term policies. So you could buy a policy with them thinking like, oh, I'm protecting my family. And at least with another company, if you bought a term, it's convertible. So you can then convert that to a permanent policy. They don't sell permanent policies. So you have nothing to convert it to. So that means now at 60, 70, 80 years old, at the worst time ever to have to buy life insurance, you got to call up someone and get a policy outside of that company.
Wow. That's crazy.
Work policies, same issue. People got work policies, they rely on their work policy. Oh, I have great benefits at work. What about when you retire? Who want to buy life insurance at 70? Nobody.
No, and then all the tests and things that you have to go through to even get approved for it, like at that age, is probably super difficult or super expensive.
It
Yeah.
is. It's both. It's both. And then you have it's very sad because they used to paying you could be paying $150 a month for this policy your whole life. And then at 60 or 70 it expires because it's a term or it was through your job, whatever. And then you say, okay, I'm gonna spend that same amount of money for my own policy now, and now it's dropped to 20,000
Hmm.
and it was originally 200,000 for the same amount of money because now you're so much older. Now it's permanent. It's all these things. So it's very sad and it's really unfortunate and it's something that we really shouldn't have to go through. And it's I always tell people it's in a contract. It's in your contract. Like literally, the best way for me to look at I'll be like, send me your contract, and I look over. I'll be like, go to page 5, read paragraph 2, and they read it and they say, oh, it's in your contract. Just like I'm gonna show you when I write this contract, I want to go through all these pages and let you see what I'm saying is what it is. I want you to be able to take that same information and put it in another policy that you might have.
Wow. Sorry, I have an incoming call. I need to decline. Okay. So let's back up a little bit and talk about how you said when you had your daughter, um, and you had to leave her like for an entire year, but then eventually you chose to come home. What was the pros and cons, the rewards to choosing to be at home and run a business and a mom at the same time?
Yeah, and like I will say when I left to go to work, like when I would leave to go to work, it was a break. I didn't realize how I was nursing at the time. So it was like she was on me 24/7. So when I left to go to work, that was like 8 hours of being able to like not be a cow, even though I would be nursing all at home. So it was still like I mean, not nursing, but I would be pumping all day at work. So I still
Right.
was kind of doing the same thing, but it was at least a little bit of a relief. So it's not to say that it wasn't a little relief leaving, but it was hard. But even coming to work from home, that has its hard, like she sometimes she doesn't like understand mommy is working. She think working, you leave the house to work. You at
Mhm.
home on phone all day. You're not working. You just talk too much. So she doesn't really understand. She's only 4. So she understands now, like she's like, you want to call? Like now she's been a little bit more, I guess, aware or observant. But earlier on, girl, she did not care. She would be like, I need you right now. So that would be a lot. That would be very difficult. And I remember I was like, okay, I'm gonna be realistic. I am not going to replace my salary with her at home. Like I used to like have these conversations with myself. So I'm going to be okay with bringing in this much money because this will be enough that I can at least take care of my bills. Next year when she goes to school, then I'm going to be able to replace my salary. So I was like really strategic. Like there's no way she's gonna let me be on the phone 6 hours a day. So let me give her time and then pivot. But she's back home. So she came back home. She was going to school full time, but we took her out of school last month. So she's been home and that's been an adjustment. But she's kind of, like I said, she's a little older now and we try to keep her occupied and buy her all the books and stuff like that. So, but it's definitely difficult to run a business while your daughter's home. But the beauty, and this is why it's so great to have your own. I've literally created my business around moms. So I talk to moms all day long, and these are moms who find me who want to talk to me. I'm not cold calling. I'm not calling on random people. So like literally, I take calls. My daughter sometimes like laying on me. I'm putting her to sleep. They hear in the background. I hear their kids in the background. It's a level of understanding that we have with each other, and that's the beauty of being able to like start my business and make it fit my lifestyle.
I love that. Um, it's like a win-win in which you're saying yes to do this, yes to do the business, and then God will send the people that is meant for you to serve. Like I even love how you're saying that you don't do any cold calls. Like people are literally coming to you. And so my business with my daycare, I even made a post about how I never even made any business cards. Like it's either word of mouth from somebody who has already been here, or the parents keep having babies, or like they're telling their friends, or their relatives. And um I'm so grateful because when Antonio and I got married, we agreed that I would be a stay-at-home mom. And so I was that for 2 years. And then we were like, okay, we need an additional income. And we agreed that I would go to work. And I got a job at a plant for 2 weeks in Auburn Hills. And the shift was 3 to 11. And so I only needed my friend to come over here for about 2 hours to be with my twin daughters, but I missed them every single day. So after 2 weeks, I was laid off, and they were like, "We'll call you when we get started again." And I was like, "Yeah, don't call me." I came home and I told Antonio, I'm like, I can't ever be away from them like that. Like it broke my heart every single day. And so I tell this story all the time where I'm like, but I have to figure out something. And I went to my friend Liz, and she's prophetic, and she was like, the Lord is leading you to start a daycare in your home. And I was like, wow. And I moved forward in that, and it's been 12 years later that it's a win-win for me to be able to raise my children, help provide for my family, and the Lord has been blessing it like every single step of the way. So I love that your business is around moms.
And it didn't always like I just want to make it clear they weren't coming right away.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it was hard, like, because it's like, well, she said it came fast. She said no, I didn't say it came fast. But once it did start coming, it was like I don't. It's a blessing. I don't have to work hard to get the business.
Right.
But I put in the hard work the first year and a half, where I had to like set myself apart from the life insurance agents and set myself apart from how I was going to get clients and make myself and put myself where they were when it comes to giving them the information and all those things. And then I was able to, at that point, attract who I wanted to attract. So it's really, really, like I said, that's the really nice part about it is that they understand. I tell people all the time, honey, if I was in my 20s, I would not do business with me. Like I would have been so annoyed. Like she's so unprofessional. Her daughter's screaming in the background. She's holding her kid. Like there is no way I'm doing business with her. But I'm not. That's not who I want to do business with. So someone who my 20-year-old self would need to find someone else. Like, but I want to do business with the women who say, I love that she is a mom. I love that she's juggling it all. I love that she cares. And she sees when she's building policies for me, she's not looking at it from this is a customer. She's looking at it like this is a sister, this is a friend, this is an auntie, this is a niece. This is someone that I'm relating to. So yeah, it's been pretty great.
I love that. So my question is, when you're encouraging people to go for it, like what if they hear this and they look at me and they look at you and they're like, well, y'all had husbands that y'all also could depend on. Like, how do they go for it?
I don't know because I'm grateful.
That's
Tell
honest.
people all the time we would have been homeless. We would have been homeless. Cause listen, bills. I was not sending no money. It was like I was just like, and then I still had to ask, like, we got to get food. He's like, you ain't paying up bills, and you need money for food. Like, yes, and it's different because we went from a place of two incomes. So it
Yeah.
wasn't like I was starting this from like being at home. I
Yeah.
went from like bringing in just equal to
Right.
nothing. And
Right.
then, it just took a level of like and he was frustrated. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't just like, babe, I support you. Yeah. It was
Mm,
like, okay, you know, like
yeah,
so, but I knew like I just had to keep going. I had to put my head down and, ignore the looks. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just grateful that I had the partner and he was able to support us. And God was so good. It was like random things that was happening with his finances that was like, I was like, babe, you don't see what God is doing? Like, why would they call you for that? Or why would you have to all of a sudden start that? Like, God is trying to help you with my money that I'm not bringing in.
he'll keep you on
Yeah.
it.
And that's what I was like,
He'll
doing
keep you.
that. But I would say, I would if someone just didn't have the spouse, like maybe you have a parent or someone that you could say. And my thing is like I do agree. Like, what's the worst can happen? What's the worst that can happen? And if the worst that can happen is you guys lose the home and you have to move in with your parents, if that is better than your current circumstance, if you are so miserable at your job or so miserable doing what you're doing, where you say, man, if I lost it all and I had to live back with my parents, that would be a better position, or I would be in a better situation than what I'm in now. I say go for it. Like give it your all and go for it, because if you're really that miserable and you just are just so unhappy, I, they say, well, what if I fail? Well, what if you fly?
That part.
You don't know till you jump out and try it.
You don't know. Yeah, you don't know. And I'm so glad you added in that, it wasn't always easy at first and it took you about a year and a half.
Yeah,
Because
it took me.
same for me. I think I had one student for like a whole year.
Yeah, it was
And then it got to the
like,
point where I'm full and I'm turning people away and everybody's
yeah,
like,
that's a
"Okay, Tia,
blessing.
time to increase now. What's
Now I
next?"
need the building. Now you need the
And
building.
that's what everybody tells me, but I always tell them that I'm a mom first, and I believe that if I have a building, that it will take away. I just love being a mom. Like I love being home when they wake up. I love being here when I go to sleep. I love being at their school activities. And so my youngest is 7. She'll be 8. I need her to
Okay,
be,
I was about to ask you what are their ages. Okay,
the twins will be 16, the middle will be 13, and then
so
the
maybe
youngest
when they all in high school, because they ain't gonna want to deal with you anyways.
they're not. The middle schooler is already don't want me to go on her Washington field trip next year.
Okay, so maybe once they get in middle school, then you can make that transition, because now then you'll have a whole bunch of kids that you can mommy, because that's how you support them in a different way. So I
Right,
think that that's pretty cool for sure.
right. Because I want to be able to give Savannah, which is the youngest, the same things that I gave the other 3. Like I just don't want to be like, okay, the older ones are in
Every
a space.
every kid get a different set of parents,
All of them.
so you cannot give her everything they had because she's a different
No, I
kid.
correct. But when I say I want to give her what I gave them, I mean like being on her school food field trips with her. Like when they have reading day at school, like I was there for them, so I want her to be able to have that same experience as well.
Get the building and hire somebody. That was
Right.
the big thing, that event I went to over the weekend. I was like really big on like outsourcing, and one thing that they said, and I can attest to it, is that they hired people and it was like the money was not always there, but we hired and then the money came. And like I have a similar like story. Like I put people on payroll when I was even getting the checks. And then it was like, okay, then the money came. And it was like, I'm so glad I did it, because one thing too, and I always say my old boss, he didn't realize, but he was mentoring me. He didn't realize because I was working at an insurance company when I decided to step out, and I was doing his marketing. And I remember he used to say every new person he hired should bring in another 50K. And a year, he was like, they should pay their own salary. And then I should make some money. Like I shouldn't be paying you and I'm making the same amount of money I was making before I hired you. And I look at that, like I look at when I bring people in to work for me, like, are you covering your salary and I'm still making money? Because if not, then you're not, this isn't a good fit. So, bringing
That's a
somebody in might do more than what you think.
that's a good little nugget.
Yeah, for sure. No, it was definitely something I held on to. Because I think sometimes, like as moms, we used to juggling, so we feel like we should be juggling in business too. But it's not like, no, you don't have to. Like you can literally outsource and you can get help and get the support and still be able to show up for the recitals and do all the things and still be able to grow the business.
Yeah, that's so true. So good. So glad we're having this story. Is there anything else you wanted to share?
Uh, not nothing that I can think of. I just again want to encourage people just to like do it. Just take the lead and see what could come about it. Somebody is literally waiting on you, even if it's to provide them a job. We were just talking about that. Literally, there's literally someone waiting on you to call to say that you're hiring so that they can provide for their family.
So good. Well, thank you, Whitney, for sharing today. Plug your information, your business, your social media handles.
So my business is Your Family, Your Legacy. I am Your Family, Your Legacy on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. YourFamilyYourLegacy.com. Yeah, Your Family, Your Legacy. Also, I got a Whitney Thompkins. I'm Whitney Tompkins on Instagram and also on, I want to say TikTok. I'm Whitney Tompkins. I just did a new TikTok, so I'm not sure what it is, but I think it's Whitney Tompkins. And yeah, so that's where you can find me. You can find me anywhere. Just put my name or my business name, and I'm there.
Amen. Your family, your legacy. Well, thank you, Storytell Her family, for joining us for another story, another Saturday. We'll see you next time.
Yes, have a great day.